My name is Erica Lorraine Spencer, and I remain subject to state surveillance and terrorism by the state of California that is operating a malicious targeting system, which is referred to as federal group stalking and monitoring via communication devices. And it is in violation of federal stalking statute 18 U.S.C. sections 2261A subsections 1 and 2. My website and podcast serve the public good by publishing evidence of the public entity's ceaseless engagement in a pattern of conduct intended to stalk and monitor via communication devices, surveil, harass, and terrorize an American citizen in concert with the people of the state of California. Documentation serves the lawful purposes of wide exposure, federal prosecution, and influencing federal legislation with policies specifically designed to punish, dismantle, and disincentivize an unprecedented targeting system by a public entity that acts in concert with the people of the state in order to criminally place under surveillance and terrorize an American citizen, which is a matter of public corruption in the state of California. Notice: intellectual property theft is particularly egregious and equally unlawful where the sole inventor and creator of the intellectual property is the targeted individual. Erica Lorraine Spencer, subject to the unconstitutional and inhumane government system of gang stalking, otherwise referred to as federal group stalking and monitoring via communication devices, because of which the intellectual property created by the targeted individual, who is, in fact, Erica Lorraine Spencer, as the intellectual property also proves, serves to establish via evidence and expose the existence of criminal surveillance and thus an inherent threat posed by the U.S. government and the civilian population sharing engagement in the unlawful system. Such evidence, that includes all of the content created by Erica Lorraine Spencer, images, videos, audio, etc., belongs solely and entirely to Erica Lorraine Spencer only and is necessarily published online in order to protect her life, safety, and liberty as the targeted individual, who is also the intellectual property owner, no less protected from theft procured through targeting by a public entity. Theft of any intellectual property belonging to Erica Lorraine Spencer, which is necessarily committed while she, being both creator and inventor, remains oppressed by the public entity via criminal surveillance, is a criminal and inhumane means of infringement under all circumstances and not protected nor enforceable pursuant to any invalid or fraudulent acts of copyright, trademarks, patents, etc., including as it pertains to any ideas associated with or generated from the intellectual property or the intellectual property owner, Erica Lorraine Spencer, whether creative, business, or otherwise, nor does the intellectual property owner consent to any such means of infringement and theft. Alrighty, 9EKC 437. This is the demons that are gang stalking under the fake sun, and as they drive out of the parking lot, impossible light moves across the brick wall, which is also moving across my person. That's, again, the passive-aggressive psychopaths and violent sex offenders who secretly are obsessed with your vagina, if you have one, or your genitalia, whatever is your genitalia area, while the entity is gang stalking. These are sex offenders, in other words. That's why I'm referring to what they obsess over as you're witnessing them gang stalking under fake sun. And the impossible occurrence is the impossible light while a identified demon and also an identified third-party gang stalker drives by in the parking lot. That's what you'll see reflected in the images. It's 12:05 p.m. And at the adjacent property that you also know is gang stalking, which is MOBIL, the demons are gang stalking by filling up their gas tank in relevant position under the fake sun that remains over me at the MOBIL, no longer over my room, 234. Okay, where the entity keeps the fake sun, which you know because the geniuses of the Ontario Police Department brought all manner of national attention to it by stalking with helicopters under that fake sun that remains over this same building for 12 hours. But now when I go next door, feet away, to 2315 South Euclid Avenue, MOBIL, that's a gang stalker. The same impossible light, 5HYA280 is gang stalking. So is this demon driving a black BMW truck, CW87W61, a paper plate, curly top. Okay, this is a Caucasian boy obsessed with a black woman's vagina whom he's gang stalking with the state of California. DE07Y07, the paper plate of the Kia that remains parked at this mobile property, mobile gas. This vehicle is documented remaining at this property. License 6LK8285 is gang stalking, and so are all these demons parked. GRABLUE, grab blue, 8XGM983. Okay, another demon-possessed gang stalker, and it's all colors of the rainbow, okay? Demons are engaged in targeting with equal opportunity for federal prison and for prosecution with the government engaging in criminal surveillance. License 739XUJ, license 8G24297, license 8GOS941. They're all sharing in the sex offense committed by the demon that's gang stalking in room 225, that psychopath accessing that black vehicle, the black BMW under the fake sun that I documented, and driving out of the parking lot under the fake sun that's at the entrance because I'm at the entrance. And that's when you're witnessing a demon's obsession with you through the environment that around, in the environment that they are maintaining around you while they're stalking you. And they are exhibiting mental illness. That's also not a secret. That's for the benefit of the public so that they can be appropriately diagnosed and treated, all right, and labeled. License 3UUU144, 8BFV299, and license 8GQS941. And you know that the Samoa Village mobile home estates are gang stalking because they were targeting with the Ontario Police Department, all right, doing so last night using criminal summoning. Those are the demons that are engaging in the P.O.C. And they're doing so while I am documenting the ongoing monitoring at that venue. And it's not a coincidence that criminal summoning entailed talking to the people of the state that are in perfect alignment at Samoa Village with my hotel room. While that demon standing outside in perfect alignment with my hotel room is stalking in the path with a shadow in front and behind him, which is impossible light activity, showing the obsession that the demons want to maintain concealed. And it's not concealed. Neither is their mental illness and the fact that they're sex offenders. Okay, so what do children represent? The fact that children are engaged in the pattern of conduct. Demon possession also is not limited to the age of majority. Public corruption is inherent to that, which is contributing to the delinquency of minors, which California is facilitating and relying upon. And also the demon-possessed Satan himself hides behind children because you're supposed to assume that innocence is associated with being a parent and having access to children, custody of children. All right, the entity is gang stalking as a business, mobile at 2315 South Good Avenue. The fake sun remains over me. I'm at this venue at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. And the demon possessed are engaging in that pattern of conduct. License 8XGM983 is gang stalking at pump number 3 at Mobile Gas. And that's incorporating the criminal business practices of Mobile that's engaging in that pattern of conduct, just like the criminal business practices of Economy N. Monitoring a woman in a hotel room, which is what Mobile is engaged in. Samoa Village, mobile home estates are engaged in. Driftwood Village Shopping Center is engaged in. The Arco Gas at the opposite end of the 60 freeway. The Chevron gas station at the opposite end of the 60 freeway. All of the people of the state, a bunch of demons. The government directly and vicariously patrolling, stalking, gang stalking on that 60 freeway. That is the roads and the highways where federal stalking is underway. Monitoring a sex offense committed by a public entity, while the fake sun is the evidence of it, the supernatural ongoing occurrence of a sun remaining on what is the north side of the 60 freeway for the duration of the entire day. And nobody in the state of California ever notices that because the state of California is full of demons who are engaged in criminal conduct, and it's massive public corruption that's also relevant to and also a massive federal RICO case against the government. And every corrupt business, every single last business is engaged in surveillance in the state of California. Surveillance is built into everything that the government is engaging in with the people of the state. All right, I want to be clear, it's currently 12:10 p.m. and the sex offense committed by this third party, let me go ahead and remind you about her license plate. You saw the heavy set female, I don't know what her, she could be a Latina. She was English speaking, and she appeared to be a Latina. She had a very nappy, it's giving Cabbage Patch doll hairpiece on her hair. It was orange, and she's supposed to be the guise of what is creating an earthquake because she has thick ankles. That's still sensational activity. It's not based on your weight. It's impossible sensational activity. You walking by my room outside and
including when I'm inside of it, is not going to cause my bed to shake and vibrate. It's not going to cause loud, thunderous noise inside of my hotel room. Those are demons who are obsessively stalking, and the impossible methods of monitoring is relevant to their mental illness and their homosexual tendencies of stalking and monitoring a woman, including her vagina. And I don't welcome that sexual attention by any gang stalker, let alone any female gang stalker. This third party's license plate again, that as she is driving out of the parking lot under the fake sun. This is again the demon that I documented on video, 9FKC957, excuse me, 9EKC937 is the correct license plate. It's the black BMW. I documented the demon accessing from room 225, that vehicle at the east end of this property where the fake sun is present both in the morning and in the evening. And it's present over me on the west side of this property, both in the morning and in the evening. From morning until evening, where nothing other than stalking. And then you're looking at the big picture, and what are you looking at under that fake sun? You're witnessing, first of all, what's a matter of prosecution: public corruption, criminal business practices, sexual violence by government, and that's trickling down to the sexual violence of a population legally identified as the people of the state. But big picture, what are you looking at? This is demonic. You have vacillating bodies and a demonic spirit using all of them, engage in criminal conduct. It's not going to be excused because they're demons, because they are. But what you're looking at is the maintenance of presence around me. And that presence, which is also equally demonic, is occurring through the demons that live under that fake sun stalking by residents. And it's not based on chronology, meaning I was here first, so I'm not a demon and I'm not gang stalking you. That's the delusion of the demon possessed that are going to be prosecuted. They're all sleepers. That's why the specific environment, that is that fake sun, that documentation of terrorism that I maintain a body of evidence proving, that's why it follows to Economy Inn, where Samoa Village, Mobile Home Estates, is indeed full of demons who are stalking by residents. That's how that coexists, and that's that legal theory to prosecute beyond a reasonable doubt, by the way. The entities engaging in this while they're watching and witnessing their own exposure, and they're also witnessing what they wanted to never be shown, the fact that the demon-possessed worship. They are very much envious. They are very much obsessed. Okay, but again, no person's value should be based on what other people are viewing, especially when other people are demons who are on assignment by Satan. And here, when you're prosecuting on assignment by the public entity, the government, to cause you to feel a certain way, I need you to become more intelligent about who you are. And intelligence is based on who created you. And it wasn't even you're relying on the physical act of procreation between mother and father. No, God himself. If it wasn't for his creation, no matter how much sex you have, you would not have been created, period. Okay, so your value is that this is getting to all this ridiculousness of what is embarrassing a bunch of demons. It gets to why you should not base your value in who you are, which is only given to you, and I understood through your creator, who was God Almighty, Jesus Christ himself. Because a bunch of demons, just like the demon possessed, that are going to be prosecuted and embarrassed and exposed for their obsession with my vagina, their obsession with who I am and how I look, the way I conduct myself, everything that, even the way that I prosecute them, they're obsessed with every aspect, even as it is to their own demise. The demon possessed are engaged in what is supposed to be an assignment to make you feel as though you're not who you are, okay, which is made in the image of God, fearfully and wonderfully made. Okay, the entity, you are so important. He knows the numbers on your head are numbered. Excuse me, the hairs on your head are numbered. You are so valuable that Christ himself died for you, and he never committed one sin. That's how valuable you are. And you can be very much deceived. You can be very much tricked by the devil, like the demon possessed are. When you're engaged in gang stalking, you've totally abandoned your own self-identity. You've abandoned your own self-worth, what you were created for, and believe me, it's not to stalk somebody else. You are totally on assignment for Satan, and you're already abiding in death. But the purpose of this is a valuable lesson here. This is why you don't determine your worth based on other people, because other people may be very much on an assignment. I've shown you how it is futile and it's totally exposed, and I'm going to prosecute for it. This is the ridiculous and most absurd level of envy. But I just want to be clear, the entity is very much on an assignment to make the target individual feel like you're not worth anything, like you are sick, there is something wrong with you, you're lacking in one way or another. It's lies from the devil. Okay, and if that were the truth, why are you stalking me? Answer that question. Oh, why are you embarrassed by the fact that you're stalking me? Moreover, Okay, these are questions that the entity is, again, ashamed of. This is why they're triggered. This is why when I'm documenting and I drop names and I drop facilitating venues, what happens? Helicopter activity. What happens? A sudden earthquake. What happens? Amplified noise. You hear the 60 freeway, which is too far to interfere and compete with my voice. All of a sudden, traffic gets really loud. These demons are paying attention to every syllable I utter. They're obsessed. And those demons that are obsessed with you want you to feel like you're nothing. That is absurd when you understand the ongoing satanic agenda. Now, somebody shouldn't have to break this down for you, because the truth of God makes this abundantly clear. When you walk with Christ Jesus, when you are obedient to what his word says, which is for your benefit, it's not to make you boring or make life boring. It's the enemy, it's the liar himself that makes you feel like you're missing something out, or that life is quote unquote boring because you live a holy life as God has called you to. That's not boring. That's not boring. It's safety. It's literally what saved my life, because there's no witchcraft that these demons can use. They're the ones that are burdened by it. And you know where it goes right back to them, because they're the ones that are walking in wickedness. They're the ones dripping in lust. They're the ones worshiping false gods, summoning demonic spirits. You know what those demonic spirits, some demonic spirits are, I will just be engaging in an all-out attack on those that summon them in the first place. They are totally vulnerable and exposed. And when you're understanding a prosecution, guess what those demons include? Businesses. They're sharing in this demonic pattern of conduct, worshiping a demonic spirits. Gang stalking is demonic activity. All I've done is I've brought it to your attention in the physical, and I'm going to prosecute in the physical. This is entirely demonic, spiritual. Okay, the entity is engaging in this, and this is just the bigger point. You're going to that extent with your nappy hair attachment, and you're gang stalking me while you have kids who should be way more important than me. But I know how much you prioritize me by this fake sun over my head, when you can't even drive by me without seeking some sort of attention via impossible light activity. A stalker. Okay, that third party's license plate. And I documented them gang stalking, walking in and out of their hotel room at the east corner of this hotel, room 225, and it is lit up like a Christmas tree. Okay, their shadows moving across the ceiling. That's absurdly demonic, speaking to the mental illness that those who are wildly envious. If you did not know that walking with Satan, that again, denying Christ, refusing to submit to him as the loving Father who died for your sins so that you could spend eternity with him in heaven and not suffer an eternal anguish in the pit of hell, where there will be weeping and gnashing of teeth. There's no break. There's no ice water. You're not going to be reincarnated as a caterpillar. It's not happening. That's not the truth. Those are lying doctrines. The entity is engaging in this pattern of conduct, and it's nothing other than a means of a distraction. But there is no distracting me. And I don't take kindly to threats. As you can see in the body of evidence, I do not take kindly to threats, and you're also not going to stop me from doing what is my purpose to do. Okay, my purpose came to my attention when I found myself being targeted in a way that nobody ever asked for. You don't deserve this. You don't ask for this. This is the work of Satan. Sorry, and it's also God's plan in everything that he permits to happen. Understand, Satan has to have permission, and anything that the Lord permits is for the good of those who love him and have been called according to his purposes. Okay, so I just want to be clear. This is all going toward what is a greater purpose, and that is for you to understand, whoever it is that is listening and paying attention, to how someone's family is gang stalking them, to how someone's fake friends are gang stalking them, to how the American government, betrayal by your own government, whatever it is that you put faith in, it is a false sense of faith that is going to disappoint. And that is what man is supposed to do. No one can save you but Christ Jesus. And it is nothing but idolatry to put your faith in anything else. All right. I just want to document that. The demon-possessed this is the absurdity of using a whole business. You're supposed to be making millions of dollars a year, and you're using your business to stalk me. That's what's so pathetic about the demon-possessed, okay? You have children, and you're stalking me, okay? You're with your wife. Oh, and you want everybody to think that you guys love each other, right? But him and his wife and her husband are stalking me. This is what's so pathetic about the demon-possessed, those who are already dead. Okay, it's entirely pathetic, and guess what? The pathetic are very embarrassed when they're exposed, and that's what the P.O.C. provides, and it's for your benefit, whoever it is that is witnessing the testimony of Christ Jesus. All right, and it is the prosecution of the state of California. It's 12:20 p.m. The fake sun is over the top of my head. You know that the fake sun is here in the same parking lot at 7:15 in the morning, and I got that on video because the devil is a liar. And you know who the devil is using? The state of California, that has no argument in federal court where it matters. All right, license plate. Stalking, pacing with mobile employees. License 8G24297. And the same gang stalking female with the blue shirt, that psychopath stalker with the Ontario International Airport. Stalking a woman. Again, obsessed with my vagina as well as what you know about that. Not engaged in legitimate, constitutionally protected conduct within an employment place, but gang stalking with the customers in the specific environment on behalf of the government. Okay, that's the entity that's gang stalking right now, and this fake sun is still here, and you know that it's still here because I also surrounded the government, that is Satan, with evidence showing the supernatural crime scene where a population is monitoring, which is unlawful, inhumane, and unconstitutional surveillance. It's exposing public corruption because that fake sun is still here at 7:04 p.m., which is also on video. And by here, I mean from the east side of where the pool is to the west side of the same property. It's only a 45-room hotel. All right, this is where the entity is surrounded with evidence of their obsession with me. That's what this gets down to. The demons are possessed. Excuse me, the demon-possessed are engaged in what is obsession while they're stalking. And they are stalking in a way that's supposed to falsely depict your character. And I am merely showing, first of all, that's ridiculous. That's absolutely ridiculous. It requires a corrupt government to falsely depict the character of American citizens that you are stalking. And it also shows that it is not the legitimate practice of medicine. At least it is unconstitutional to keep against one's will and to take their property and permit anyone else to control their property or have custody and have access to it against an American citizen's will when you are capable of manufacturing mental illness when you're targeting somebody. That's not mental illness. And it's also not mental illness because the ordinary target individual doesn't have evidence to prove that they're being gang stalked in the demonic means that I have proven within the P.O.C. This is going to require that state and federal laws also change based on the criminal conduct of the geniuses that fill the state of California. These bright and the brightest and the best. This is what they call themselves. These are the demons that are monitoring my vagina. They refer to themselves as the best and the brightest. I will show you there is no difference between what you call somebody that's sleeping on the street. That's supposed to be an estimation of their worth. The entity is engaged in gang stalking me, and my homeless state has absolutely nothing to do with my value, my integrity, my potential, my capabilities. The entity is engaging in this, and it is the direct impact of gang stalking, and that's why the laws are going to change. It is also relevant to what is not the legitimate practice of medicine, not only based on what I just described, but I've documented the gang stalking so-called medical professionals engaged in the P.O.C. Oh, this changes everything. It changes everything. I mean that. It is currently, again, I'm going to digress here. It's 12:23 p.m. These demons are under the fake sun. It's 2301 South Euclid Avenue.
Erica Lorraine Spencer here. The following is an audio version of video evidence that is captured for purposes of mass distribution, which is why I am capturing it and sharing it on the podcast for evidentiary purposes and also to reveal the wealth of documentation that extends beyond what it is that I document on podcasts. Much of the video and images will be published onto the YouTube channel, the P.O.C., and it is also shared on the Google Drive. Again, this is for purposes of revealing what I remain subject to, which is federal group stalking and monitoring. It is a demonic system of state surveillance that the government is practicing in concert with the people of the state, and it should be known and well understood that for the government to engage in federal group stalking and monitoring, this is a crime that is committed with a criminal purpose to threaten the life of an American citizen. This is to conspire to murder and or permanently kidnap an American citizen while engaging in a perpetual sex offense in concert with the people of the state. All right, this is Ontario Police setting. And this is an unlawful threat. I want you to understand what the people of the state were doing last night in perfect alignment with my room. And they're doing so in engineer light. This is the Ontario Police. This is the means of engaging in a threat while stalking in the path. They are stalking in the path while the people of the state are stalking with impossible light activity. And this is also exhibiting mental illness while a population is stalking. And I'm going to show you above my head. First of all, this is stalking with the police. They're driving in engineer light. And the amplified sound of the traffic, license 8T, HW 986, they're stalking together. This is what Samoa Village was doing last night. And here's the sun over my head. These are demons. And so are the Ontario Police Department. And by the way, the Ontario International Airport that's flying south over this building, there is no terminal where they're coming flying
what is south over my hotel room specifically, where the fake sun is not over that hotel building. That's also how you know that the Ontario police are stalking. And this is also where the entity is, where the fake sun is right here at 6 p.m. The fake sun is over the hotel. That's Economy Inn, 6 p.m. That's also how you know that the Ontario police are stalking. And this is why they're being disbanded. These are sex offenders that are engaged in obsessing over my vagina while I remain inside of the hotel room. And this is an unlawful threat. This is why they are going to be placed in federal prison. WALGREENS, understand, 224 South Euclid Avenue, the establishment is gang stalking. This is the very threatening conduct that's putting them in prison. License 1510639. This is a Caucasian male. He's a sex offender engaged in federal stalking. License, vehicle 1872. He's going to federal prison. That's a white male with a mustache. 8XBL467, the fake sun through the rear windshield. The entity is gang stalking, and this is not. The Ontario police are gang stalking at Starbucks at 507 North Euclid Avenue. 12:55 p.m. There's no sun over the logo of Starbucks that's on Euclid Avenue at 507 North Euclid Avenue. They committed kidnapping at Starbucks with the people of the state who are gang stalking with them now. Federal prison. Okay, and these idiots are the ones stalking with helicopters under a fake sun. Federal prison. They're being disbanded. They are stalking day and night, and that's why they're all over the internet. That's why the people of the state, the sex offenders that they are, all over the internet, demon-possessed gang stalkers engaging in terrorism and psychological torture. Being a federal prosecutor, that's putting you in federal prison. That's called criminal summoning. That's a demon that's manifesting. That's light activity in the engineered environment. That's a demon. Okay, the entity is in contact with the people of the state. 9SGC355 is stalking with the police. This is the entity engaging that P.O.C, and this is grocery outlet that's monitoring me inside of that grocery store with the state, who is not coincidentally in the path, pacing all around is what Ontario police are doing, while the entity is stalking Ontario International Airport. This is Alan D. WAPNER, that's again a sex offender monitoring my vagina, while this plane activity is supposed to be the guise for rumbling my hotel room, for what is the ongoing amplified noise of plane activity inside of my hotel room. The entity is clearly stalking. There's no terminals over here. And the entity that is caught engages in very foolish conduct. They're doing it under the fake sun as well. This is Alan D. WAPNER that's stalking. Every corrupt business associated with the Ontario International Airport that knows that I just documented them, obviously engaged in that criminal pattern of conduct with the police. What they're doing, by the way, when they're flying at this elevation, I'm not going to hear it inside of my hotel room. I'm not going to capture it on video outside of my hotel door. The fake sun is not over my hotel room like I'm capturing while the Ontario International Airport is gang stalking. Look at my video at 12:42 in the afternoon while I'm standing at the staircase on the south side of this same building, and the fake sun is over me on the opposite side, not where the grocery outlet can be seen on camera, nor with the sun, and nor is the Ontario International Airport hovering over in this debate. They're hovering where the fake sun is, which is over me. And the entity engages in this very foolish provision of evidence against themselves. These are the demons that are going to mental asylums, that are going to prison, that are going to be prosecuted for domestic terrorism and psychological torture. 94567C1 is a sex offender and knows what's going on with my vagina in a private space. And that's the secret of the demon-possessed that are gang stalking. All right, and this is grocery outlet communicating an unlawful threat. The establishment and the employees are gang stalking. And these are psychopaths using grocery carts right now under the fake sun to monitor its audible activity. With the airport, the city that just provided evidence against them. This is a federal RICO case. This is a federal RICO case. As P.O.C. It's Title 18 federal stalking with the customers, with the public. These are the sex offenders that know what's going on with my vagina as a corrupt business while I remain inside of this hotel. And the Ontario International Airport hovers over my hotel room. Hi. What's your name? Mariah's gang stalking with Grocery Outlet, and she's gang stalking with the City of Ontario, and she's gang stalking with the Ontario Police Department. And she's doing so under the fake sun, and she's doing so communicating a lawful threat as an entity. She's also a sex offender. She's also a psychopath. And her demon possession is not a secret. I just captured the images of the fake sun over me while I'm in the parking lot. When I'm capturing the fake sun from sunrise until sunset, there is no explaining what is the specific environment. The explanation is that the people of the state are a bunch of demons, and they're engaging in criminal surveillance in California, and the laws are going to change based on the criminal surveillance of the people of the state. Okay? Psychopaths think it's funny when they're proven and evidence to be gang stalking, but they're not going to be laughing when I'm prosecuting them in court. Okay, and the Ontario Police Department's not going to exist because they're relying on demons like Mariah to keep you under surveillance, and that's the disbanding of the Ontario Police Department. They are indeed obsessed with my vagina. This is why everywhere that I'm going, I'm showing you the supernatural, and they are present. They're demons, a whole department of them. Mike LORENZ is hereby being publicly removed, not just removed, but being publicly removed and exposed. Paul Leon's engaging in surveillance with the demons stalking in the parking lot, because that's what that is, under the fake sun. This is P.O.C. Look at the video that I captured at 12:52 p.m. when I am at the hotel. This is an unnatural environment where if at 12:52 and this was the sun, the natural environment, then it wouldn't be south of what is this building, where I wouldn't be able to capture right over my head while I'm on the second floor of my hotel and I'm walking in the parking lot going to that entrance on video and the fake sun moves as I'm over that property. Everything that you just saw regarding all of the facets of gang stalking through the city of Ontario, Alan D. WAPNER, a domestic terrorist, through the city of Ontario, the Ontario Police Department, Mike LORENZ, a domestic terrorist, the people of the state that are gang stalking, the domestic terrorists, the sex offenders, stalking a woman in a hotel room, knowing every move I make, including what's going on with my vagina. And this is the documentation of an unlawful threat. This is what happens when you want to threaten the federal government as a domestic terrorist. An un-American criminal that is not welcome in this country. Gang stalking immigrants are also going to be deported. It is 12:59 p.m. That's P.O.C. So let's get the entity that's stalking with amplified noise that's never going to be heard inside of my hotel room as well. Never. And where are they doing it? Where the fake sun is over me, which is not over Economy N. Stalking by the government. All they've done is proved it. They're stalking at Driftwood Village. You already know this. That entire shopping plaza, this is massive surveillance. They're shopping at the Center Focus. That's a community of demons that are living in relevant position. They're stalking at Samoa Village. Okay, that's a community of demons living in an RV park. They're stalking on the 60 freeway. All right, this is the documentation of that unlawful threat that the entity commits as one. Okay, they're doing so while it is being exposed. That's relevant to how long gang stalking police officers are going to sit in prison, and the mental illness and the unlawful threat by the gang stalkers that are the Ontario police. They are the template for how you're going to treat domestic terrorists, the corrupt executive branch, while they're engaged in criminal surveillance. And this is putting the impotent, the intellectually impotent like Tracy Banks and Jason Isaac Fields that sought to use these idiots to falsely depict my character while you're stalking me. That's why they're going to prison. All right, this is the evidence right here, putting everybody that engaged in that criminal conspiracy to defame my character while you're targeting. You're going to federal prison. And I'm putting it all over the internet where I prosecuted you first. This is P.O.C. It's 1 p.m.
Alrighty, the video you just listened to is capturing the entity gang stalking by the Ontario International Airport. That's Alan D. WAPNER. That's gang stalking with the Ontario Police Department. That's Mike LORENZ. The same criminal teamwork you see when I'm at the hotel where the fake sun remained over me en route in defiance, total conflict with the natural environment. And you also know, just like you can clearly see in the video that I captured, the fake sun is north in the north parking lot of Grocery Outlet, where it is at 6 p.m. where that same Ontario Police Department is stalking me just like they were in this video that you just listened to at 12:55 in the afternoon. That is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 hours later. The fake sun is over the same corner that it is right now at 1 p.m. where I'm capturing the fake sun over me, where the Ontario International Airport is listening to me expose them, and then those idiots that engage in that antiquated method of gang stalking in a manner that is clearly criminal and incriminating, because that is the failed effort of, that's not rebutting anything. It's corroborating, it's establishing, it's demonstrating in real time, first of all, that you're monitoring, second of all, that you're demons, and third of all, which is relevant to the prosecution, that you are indeed engaged in the criminal conduct that I'm narrating in real time. That is what is behind the foolery behind doing it on video. I could not ask for more of a foolish defendant. And I want to be clear, there are drastic consequences for the president of the airport authority to be engaged in criminal surveillance. There are massive consequences for the so-called police chief to be engaged in criminal surveillance, and it's going to include federal prison for those that are gang stalking using commercial planes, the ones that are in the cockpits, the ones that I'm documenting. There's supplemental evidence about what the feds are aware of is going on while you've just been witnessing me document as I'm publishing it on the internet. They're going to prison, and so are the gang stalking police officers, just like in the parking lot of Grocery Outlet, where there's no sun that's ever going to be over the Ovid Family Community Library with regard to what the entity is now doing, because the stalker is limited to where the targeted individual goes. And that's how I can separate and isolate what they were doing in a totally different location, including region. Don't forget what Monrovia, California is engaging in while I'm staying at that hotel on the same day. And where is the fake sun for the duration of the day? Oh, it's not over Grocery Outlet, where the Ontario police are shown to be proven to be stalkers who cannot control their obsession. And that's relevant to the national security threat, because they are therefore incapable of controlling and withholding criminal conduct, which is a threat to American citizens, including the demon-possessed people of the state. Okay, these are maniacal psychopaths, and it is proven through that specific environment, including, while I show you on video the fake sun that's not over the staircase of Economy Inn on the west side of the property. It's not over my room at 234 on the second floor where the airport is flying directly over my room. In fact, that what the entity did at Grocery Outlet is though it's then taking off there. Where does the entity feign taking off? Over me. What does common sense dictate? You're not taking off at 2301 South Euclid Avenue, north or south of 2301 South Euclid Avenue, when the terminals 2 and 4 are located at 2500 and 2900 Airport Drive. Neither is that even going to be a part of, that's when you're going in deep into substance, but this is common sense, it's not rocket science. You're stalking under the fake sun, which the Alan D. WAPNER is already surrounded with evidence of targeting me. Okay, the president of the airport authority is going to be removed from position. This demon's name, this domestic terrorist name, this sex offender's name, that wants you to be deceived with thinking that somebody that wears the headdress to be confused with a Jew is not capable or possibly demon possessed, and that's a lie out of the pit of hell. Okay, I want to be clear, the entity is also engaging in criminal conduct. And you will know, as an aside, that it's a demon. And these are demons stalking in commercial planes. Why are they spending so much money and spending so much manpower? You have corrupt airlines that are going out of their way to document little old me. Oh, they know what's going on with my vagina inside of that hotel room, where they're feigning taking off over that hotel room. And you also know that they're targeting because that fake sun's over my hotel room. But on video, what you just saw, where the Ontario police behind me stalking in the path, where the fake sun is not over the Woodside Senior Apartments, Tracy Banks' apartment. It's not over 507 North Euclid Avenue, Starbucks. It's not in Monrovia, where the sun would be on the same day at the same time, where I'm capturing it from the beginning until the end of the day, which is the pattern of conduct, not the natural environment, as I'm using the criminal conduct of the government to prove that it's a criminal. Because the demons are idiots and they're prosecuting themselves while they continue stalking, and they've already lost in what was supposed to be a secret endeavor. Okay, there's no secrets under the fake sun, and there's nothing other than stalking under the fake sun. Criminal surveillance, which the police are committing at Grocery Outlet with Grocery Outlet, and that's the establishment and the demon-possessed employees who are engaged in criminal monitoring. Their third parties. The entity is doing so while the Ontario International Airport, again, while those demons are monitoring, not helping the federal case, because flying south of the Economy Inn is equally targeting 2301 South Euclid Avenue, targeting me under the fake sun, targeting while I'm documenting the absence of any coincidence that you're deviating from any arrival or departures from the airport. And moreover, as I arrive back at the Economy Inn, you'll see the fake sun right over the same staircase. That's the west end of the same property. And this is where the fake sun is at 6 o'clock, 6:03 to be precise, where the Ontario police are stalking in a helicopter, which all of the world is able to see as well, while those demons clearly exhibit mental illness under a fake sun, remaining where I am. That is surveillance evident through the environment, and also stalking using a helicopter. That's also your ability to know that they are mentally ill, psychopaths and sex offenders, stalking under a fake sun. Okay, and where the entity is repeating in that which is proven to be criminal conduct, that's showing you what's the formula for gang stalking. The government's corrupt system is as follows, where you are seeking to enforce your rights and you speak on, oh, they're flying over me, they're stalking by planes. The entity will engage in it in real time, including as you call yourself reporting it or documenting it, and that's supposed to be the government's engagement in what is criminal conduct. And that's supposed to be the government's engagement. Oh, this is the false logic behind that. Well, if I'm doing it while you're talking about it, clearly it's not a secret, and it's not a secret because it's not unlawful. And I'm clearly doing it in a manner that is also harmless to the targeted individual, has nothing to do with that. These are all of the illusions where the demon-possessed are surrounded with evidence of criminal surveillance and psychological torture and ongoing gang stalking with the people. It's criminal facilitation. It's also showing you corruption. That's how corrupt they are. This is the false logic that the system operates on. And what you are looking at me show you is how these demons are engaging in an outdated system. As they engaged in that provision of very rich evidence, it is the prosecution of the state of California. Gang stalking through the city airport, gang stalking through the city police, and the police are being disbanded based on the series of kidnappings that they've been engaged in order to obstruct justice. This is the very criminal system that I've been documenting since 2018, and the Ontario police in particular are the ones that engage in stealing my car to obstruct justice, engaged in what is stealing everything that I own that was inside of my car. In doing so. So that was more than just color of authority with regard to theft. That's conversion by the people of the state, Bill and Wags. That was a deprival of everything that I own and my shelter, because I was sleeping in my car, which the pattern of conduct is already shown. They're on video in 2018 and 2019, stalking me using helicopters under the fake sun over my car that they stole. Knew exactly who the car's owner was. The people of the state are the ones that stripped it. The people of the state are the ones that removed the VIN number and the license plate. The people of the state are the ones that engage in what are stealing with the Ontario police. And then it's the same corrupt government that's engaging in what is the denial of lawful relief. There's a history of obstruction of justice, which is, again, the entity that's engaging in this very idiotic form of stalking. It's outdated, it's antiquated, and literally, while I say that the Ontario police are stalking, what do they do in real time? They give you evidence of being in the path as I capture them on video. That's not a contradiction nor a coincidence. It's not a rebuttal. It's not helpful to the defense. The case has already shown the feds and everybody else in the world knows what's going on. You also know that gang stalking is not within the imagination or some sort of hallucination of any person, let alone me, as I'm proving it, and I'm going to prosecute. I'm going to prosecute also for that impunity. That's how that's legally referred to. Oh, you're so big and you're so corrupt and you're so convinced that is accustomed to getting away with psychologically torturing and threatening people in their face that you do it while the evidence is being, oh no, you're going to prison for that. And there's somebody that's responsible for it. His name is Alan D. WAPNER. That demon, that sex offender is being removed. Okay, this is the entity that's gang stalking, and everybody in the path, including those that are working at the venue, present at the venue, those demons are doing their cockroaches under the fake sun, pacing all around me, worshiping me. And this is what they do about my vagina. This is what you need to know. All right, the entity is engaging with stalking a woman, the government, a woman in a hotel. The government is a sex offender. And they're doing it in a manner that is unmistakable. The fake sun is in the same position it is 5 hours from now at 6 p.m. It's still at this property at 7 p.m. You will see the images of UPS, a very heavily documented gang stalker, using not only the commercial planes to terrorize and psychologically torture while they're profiting off of state surveillance, but they're also using the vehicles, the commercial vehicles, while they are hiring demons to keep American citizens under surveillance while those demons dress up like it's Halloween every day and wearing UPS uniforms while they're gang stalking in California. That is federal stalking that the entity is engaging in. I just want to document this. This is what's going to be uploaded to the Google Drive. This is ongoing sexual violence that the gang stalking housekeepers sharing. The government's helping them stalk in the path, stalk with amplified audible activity. Those demons that are engaging with 45 rooms that they cannot keep clean, but yet it takes them 8 hours. And what are they actually doing? They're pacing all day long, stalking and monitoring my every move, obsessed with everything concerning me. And this is why earthquakes feel the entity is engaging in what is stalking using planes at grocery outlet. If that's where you're taking off, why is it disrupting my hotel stay? That's impossible audible activity. Also where you're identifying targeting by demons. All right, and we're not even going to address in that common sense identification of targeting. The fact that there's no terminals over here. How are you, other than clearly deviating far from any sort of published arrivals and departures, Alan D. WAPNER is specifically and intentionally seeking to avoid exposure, while these flights that I'm documenting are not a part of any sort of arrival or departure. They're doing donuts in the sky, they're coming around over the parking lot, making a U-turn, flying over, rising an elevator. What that has nothing to do with any sort of arrival or departure. If you've ever flown on a plane, the pilots that is not how flights are maintained very smooth. We're not taking any detours over parking lots and going low in elevation and then maintaining the rest of the flight back to the airport and then landing. The entity is gang stalking, and so are the airlines. And what you need to associate with terrorism and sexual violence is Delta Airlines, American Airlines, Frontier Airlines, Starlux Airlines, they take international flights, Alaska Airlines, they take international flights, Southwest Airlines, UPS, FedEx, and Amazon Prime Air, and every other airline associated with the Ontario International Airport, which is speaking to, it's a template for you to know what California is engaging in. This is terrorism that's underway using planes and helicopters, and that is a public safety concern. This is a free notice to the public. The entity engages in terrorism by flying planes and helicopters into buildings and mountains and bodies of water. I've stated this over and over again. And it's reported on the news as just a mysterious occurrence that they're going to investigate, or an inexplicable accident, a tragic mistake happened, or a tragic act. These are demons, and they commit mass murders. All right, while they're stalking me in the absurdly psychopathic ways, those are the same demons that are engaging in committing mass murders. They're acts of terrorism, and they're not reported as such. The propaganda in America that is engaged in what is this capitalistic venture coexisting with criminal surveillance is that the propaganda is that it's communicated and treated as though, given the appearance of something that's going to be investigated in this civilized society where we have rules and policies and government bodies and bureaucracies and laws and we're far above any sort of barbaric conduct like what's going on in third world countries. No, America is not, and certainly California isn't. And I want to let you know what California is doing, the rest of the country is doing. And what's even worse is that I'm somebody that is fully equipped to expose it. They targeted me. This is not to say that anybody's of any lesser or more value. This is to show you that it doesn't matter if you are a farmer. It doesn't matter if you are some sort of a rocket scientist indeed by trade. It doesn't matter what your education level is. The entity is engaged in what is targeting, and they rely on gang conduct. So if the gang members say that you're a sex offender that has never been arrested for it, you've never been caught engaging in child porn, trafficking, you've never committed the crimes that the gang members state that you have, you will be prosecuted for it. That is set up, framed. You'll be kidnapped by the entity that's gang stalking and targeting you. All right, and you will be depicted as a criminal, as a sex offender, as mentally ill, whatever the gang members decide, and then through their corrupt government practices want to use as a matter of adjudicating, putting it on your record. This is what gang conduct in California, gang stalking, results in. And for them to have this sort of, where do you get this ammunition? Where do you even get this sort of confidence that you would even be able to get away with this? Oh, it's because they rely on gang conduct, groupthink. Nobody exercises independent thought. This is relying upon corruption from every type of level, every level of government. The court is corrupt, the sheriff is corrupt, the police are corrupt, the people are corrupt. That's where gang stalking is necessarily underway. It cannot exist without every level being engaged in that and cooperating with it. And I don't care if they're cooperating because they're scared to be the one to speak the truth. You're equally guilty. There are innocent people that are suffering because you're too much of a coward to do what is right. Because you're too much of a coward, so other people lose their lives while you benefit and make money off of it. That's supposed to be some sort of sympathetic basis of, no, it's equally, whether you cheer it on and you engage in sex rituals and celebration every night, or whether you have a guilty conscience while you are still nonetheless engaging in it and deriving a benefit from it, including not being targeted because you are silently acquiescing to it and facilitating it. This is where group conduct, gang stalking is underway. And the government, these baboons have surrounded themselves with evidence, literally. Like I said, these are the foolish defendants that have surrounded themselves with evidence, which is insurmountable. And this is the entity that's engaged in monitoring my vagina. So you keep that in mind while I'm showing you fools that are stalking as a whole police department. That whole police department is going to pay, okay? That whole airport, the president of the airport authority, that's a prosecution, a removal of a public official. And guess what? Everybody under that demon is corrupt. The Ontario International Airport is a threat to national security. You understand that these are murderers, these are sex offenders, these are psychopaths that are representing multi-million-dollar businesses that are engaging in surveillance in this country. What they also do when they put on that hat and get in that cockpit, they're also engaged in gang stalking. That's the part that they don't tell you about. That's the part of their job that they're engaging in that they're not reporting on. It's a whole elaborate system, all right? This is what the city of Ontario is engaging in. And they're doing it under the fake sun that followed back to Economy Inn at 2301 South Euclid Avenue. You'll see that represented in the images. Always look at the big picture. Monrovia, California on this day in 2024. And also, just the other night, July 25th, 2025, where the people of the state are pacing in the parking lot. At the moment that I begin taking pictures, that's a demon stalking in the path, knowing what's going on with my vagina and knowing what's going on with my communication device. Now, coincidentally, under that fake sun. So let me give you that sex offender's license plate. All right, it's currently 9RMT641, okay? This is the entity that's engaging in that sexual violence, and not coincidentally, while they are engaging in that pattern of conduct. That's not an accident. The entity is engaging in this pursuant to an ongoing criminal pattern of conduct. This is where the airport stalking, this is where the police are stalking, this is where the entity is engaging in what is that clearly identified P.O.C, okay? That's the entity. You'll see that reflected in the images. It's 1:23 p.m. where the fake sun is in the same position at 6:03 p.m. where the Ontario police for 10 minutes fly in a circle. That's demonic pacing. That's mental illness that's no longer concealed in the mind. That's mental illness that they're wearing like clothing on the outside of their body. It's very obvious while the fake sun is in the same position 5 hours from now. And by the way, I'm capturing it at 7 in the morning at this property. This is at grocery outlet, all manner of obvious criminal conduct. P.O.C. It is 1:23.